Hello.
Greetings.
One and all. You may notice for some of the OGs out there, I think it means original gangsters.
I don't know what it means. And people use it a lot, but I don't know what it means. I'm not down with the things like that.
No, I don't know. But you may notice that the background's changed for the third time in this lifespan. We've had such sponsorships that we've managed to relocate to a studio
in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Oh,
yeah, that's Los Angeles. Ho ho. It's a little known suburb in Los Angeles. Ho ho.
Santa lives there.
The LA Santa on Skid Row.
On Skid Row, yeah. We're actually on Skid Row. No, we're not. We're actually on Skid Mark.
Skid Mark. There we go.
There, bring it down.
It gets better, I promise. So what do we know?
So we're in a recent move to this location now. So you've been seeing this one for quite some time, I would imagine. What do we know? Right. We, a few weeks ago, mentioned, rather disparagingly, I thought, about a gentleman who was working for the Stones.
Hold on. I need to interrupt you. Could you just move those cans a little bit further back?
Why? We advertising, we shouldn't.
Well, we should, yeah. Take your time to pour that beer. Yeah. That's them. There we go. Here we go. Don't worry, folks. You'll be seeing those later. Right.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit disparagingly about a gentleman who used to work for the Rolling Stones. If you remember, we were on about his Jay Leno chin.
Oh, yeah. That keyboard player, yeah.
Yeah, the keyboard player. Ian Smith.
Very exciting name.
No, it wasn't. It was Ian Stewart.
Ian Stewart. So good they gave him two first names.
No, well, yes, he's that good. Yeah, Ian Stewart. Now, the thing about Ian Stewart, he was a boogie-woogie piano player.
A boogie-woogie
Piano player. And Brian Jones advertised in Melody Maker, I think it were, or Sound, for a piano player. And he was a piano player.
A pianist?
A pianist. What was he wearing?
no comment. Pianist.
So, and he applied. He answered the advertisement and he applied and he was accepted. So he was the first Rolling Stone.
Wait, was Brian not the first?
Well, all right, the first one
I thought Popper were.
Sorry?
I thought Popper were.
Papa, yeah, but it depends where he left his hat.
Right. Well done.
That was quick.
It was quick. You're right. It caught me out. It was that quick.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
It was. Well,
It was the 3rd of September. No, that's a different song. Anyway. So,
no, it's not.
That's the right song.
That's the right song.
is it right song?
You're thinking of the 21st of September.
Is that what it is?
Do you remember the 21st night of September?
Anyway, we're going off the
Yes.
track here. So, Ian Stewart, back to Ian Stewart, because we were bad. We were talking in,
Yep.
I'm trying to redress the balance.
Okay.
So Ian Stewart, he was the first one to be employed then by Brian Jones as a Rolling Stone. Mick and Keith didn't become a Rolling Stone until the month after.
Oh.
A month later on, they were brought in on board. There was a different bass player and a different drummer. Then Charlie Watts and what's his face wasn't the original bass player and drummer. They had 2 or 3 bass players, I think, and they had a couple of drummers, I think, but there certainly wasn't the original ones. The one Charlie Watts and Bill Wyman, they wasn't the originals. So he was the first original, other than Brian Jones, the original Rolling Stone. Then in 63, Andrew Lowe Gorman, who was the manager of the Rolling Stones, said, look, he's a nice lad, he's all right, but he just don't suit the image.
Yeah, he had that huge chin.
He's sending out
He did, unfortunately. It's like, it looked like, as if you ever seen American Dad, the cartoon.
Yeah. It's nice.
Chin.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
It's not what we're looking for. I mean, besides, we don't want 6 people on stage. It's not what we're looking for. But I tell you what, how do you fancy being our resident studio keyboard player and our tour manager?
Oh, he's a tour manager as well.
Yeah, and he says, yeah, I'll do that. I like that. Now, he worked for ICI. And what he did was, the Rolling Stones ran from his desk in ICI because all the advertisements that they had and the bookings that they tried to get all came through his phone on his desk in ICI. So he was running the Stones from his office, basically. So he'd organise all the bookings, organise the transportation. He went and bought a van. He'd ferry him about all over the place. He weren't a drinker, and he certainly weren't into drugs. He always thought that was a bit of nonsense. So he would just, and he ferried him about. And Keith used to get a little bit fed up with him sometimes. When they got established, Big Keith, yeah, when he got established, because he'd book him into some place, Arctic Stick somewhere, and they wanted to be middle of the city in Paris or something like that, and he'd have them 10 miles outside because he liked to play golf.
Oh.
So he'd have them at a golf course. He got to play golf, and they got to just get drunk in the rooms, basically, and go and do gig. But he got his golf in. And he did that right up until he died.
Playing golf.
No, being the tour manager.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
When did he die, though?
He died in 86, I think it was.
Wow.
And he went to, he were having a bit of heart trouble. He didn't know it were heart trouble.
That's a difficult job. That's being a tour manager. And they were in 80s, they were doing arenas. They were doing he's learning on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting, that.
And he said, I'm having a bit of respiratory trouble. I can't catch my breath. So he went to doctors in Harley Street, as you do. He went to a doctor's and he sat in waiting room, had a massive heart attack and died. 47, I think he were.
Wow.
Oh, God, that's no, that is it.
I know, 47. And he were clean living, didn't drink much.
There's a shows you, doesn't it?
Drugs. Yeah.
And then other two.
The human cockroach.
Yeah. Mick said he was the one person that they all wanted to please.
Right.
Yeah, they all wanted his approval. When they were trying out a new song and they wanted it, whether it worked or not, he was the person.
That's a nice bit of praise.
Yeah, he was the one person that wanted it to please Ian, because if he liked it, then they knew they got one. They knew they were all right. And they insisted that he was put on the list of inductees into the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Rightly so.
Yeah.
They said, no, we won't. That is. And Keith went on to say later that Ian Stewart I am still working for him. To me, the Rolling Stones is his band. Without his knowledge and organisation, we wouldn't be nowhere.
Good, that's good.
And he wrote that in his autobiography from, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they insisted that his name would put on for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they've all held him in such high regard since. It was his band. Not theirs, his.
His band. Well.
So I hope we've redressed the balance. I hope that puts things right.
Of the man with the big chin.
So they were almost called the Big Chins. The Chins and the Pips.
No, the
Chin and the Pips.
Yeah, they were the big chin.
The Big Chins. Well, speaking about band members, we heard the news about Foo Fighters.
Yeah, they've sacked the drummer, haven't they?
Yeah, but they've given no reason.
Really?
Yeah. So he put a post out recently saying that the Foo Fighters just called him late Monday night to let him know that they've decided to go in a different direction with their drummer.
But they've had a falling out then.
And they're given no reason.
Yeah, they've had a falling out.
They are in the middle of organising a tour for end of year or beginning of next year.
Right.
I think it's middle, or it might even be middle to end of this year, and it's the first tour since the baby out of marriage thing.
What do you think? Anything to do with that? Or is it that maybe the drummer does a bit of drugs?
Oh,
well, they had a bit of a layoff, didn't they, when Grohl came out and said that he got another child outside the marriage.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with band, though?
And then they've got back together, booked these tours, and sacked drummer. Is it Josh Freese?
Yeah. They always say something like this. when they've had a row, something's gone off internally within band, they never say what it is. They never say, "Oh, we had a Rick falling out because he was constantly having a go at Grohl about his extra."
He didn't join to what? 2022?
Well, after the death of what is it? Wasn't it?
It was-
Hawkins.
Yeah, 20,
Yeah, so McGlastonbury, well, it was 23. So
2022, wasn't it? Yeah,
I think you joined that.
2022. He did.
We want to go in different directions, which means he's not doing as he's told. He's not going in our direction.
He might have he might have been seen to do drugs, and with the death of the other drummer, maybe.
Wow. We can't guess on that one.
They could have been.
We can't guess on any of it, really.
Well, what if he was into necrophilia?
Actually, it's funny you
If
should
we're
say
going to
that.
guess, we might as well go the whole
You
hog.
might as well go the whole hog. It's
Well,
funny
yeah.
you should mention that no. You don't know, though, do you?
No.
I mean, you can speculate all you want, but it'll come out.
I'm going to say it'll come out enough.
Yeah.
In a
Well,
week-
look
in a
at
week
what
or
we
two.
just had with. Oh, they've done the same.
Oh, yeah, they sacked the drummer.
Yeah, but Roger's
Roger's been at it again.
been. He's got been at it
But
again.
not this Roger, though.
No, that Roger.
No.
Another Roger. But he's got an history of this, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when Mooney died,
Keith Moon.
when Keith Mooney died,
Oh, Mooney.
Mooney. We all know.
You used to
We
know
all
that-
know Mooney.
Oh, Mooney from Bottom Street.
when Keith Moon died, well, them that know him, we refer to him as Mooney.
I've never met him.
You know, he used to refer to me as G.
Big G.
Not double G.
So when Keith Moon died, they brought in Kenny Rogers from Faces. Now, Kenny Rogers had played with Moon, with Who before. He'd sat in on different times.
And Dolly.
And Dolly.
What, he played with... Keith Moon played with Dolly Parton?
No, Kenny Rogers.
Oh, all right.
Not Kenny Rogers.
You know about Kenny Rogers for? Where did he come from?
That's what you said.
Did I say Kenny Rogers?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
yeah.
No, not Kenny
You
Rogers.
said Kenny Rogers.
I said it last time, didn't I?
That's
Kenny
why I
Rogers?
looked at you like, oh, enough, sir. All right.
Kenny Jones.
Kenny Jones.
Right. They're like islands in the string.
Yeah, so the drummer. Sorry, folks. They only let me out at home this afternoon. I'm not acclimatised yet to outside world. So Kenny Jones is drumming for Who because Mooney's died. Mooney. And Roger didn't really get on with anybody. Didn't really get on with, he still don't get on with Pete Townshend. He didn't get on with anybody in the band. He's a contrary person, shall we say. And Kenny Jones always used to say that every time Rogers looked around, he looked around and he yeah, he expects to see Keith Moon there, but it's me sat there instead. And he was a little bit disappointed about that. And he contrived to get him out of band. And he were in longer than Keith Moon were. And then he got him out of band over some financial stuff. I mean, if you listen to his book or read his book, you don't really slag him off that much because he's got a lot of praise for him. But he just makes it clear that, you know, he wasn't to blame for him being sacked from, it was him. Because he just doesn't get on with anybody.
I never got that from him.
And he didn't even like Keith Moon.
It's weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I always thought it was like the pleasant one of the band, but actually
No,
maybe
it's not.
a bit
He's the
of...
arsehole.
Because, I mean, Pete Townshend's a bit of a miserable git, isn't he?
Oh, he's a miserable as they come in, isn't he?
He's been a professional miserable
Yeah.
for years.
Hasn't he just written Quadrophenia in a play or musical?
Probably.
He's taking it on to theatre, I think.
Yeah, probably.
I want to do like a We Will Rock You thing.
I think it's him and his wife. They've just rewrote Quadrophenia and done it as a musical for theatres.
Well,
Sure it has.
Moon were in...
Mooney.
Mooney. Keith Moon played drums on Tommy. But Kenny Rogers again with Kenny Rogers. Kenny Jones, is it Kenny Jones? Kenny Jones did as well. He played on Tommy.
It's the ghost of Kenny Rogers. It's possessing you.
I can't get away from him, can I?
Well, they're doing the farewell tour, aren't they? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
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 And
I think they should, to be fair.
Which one?
well, and yeah, another one. But what they've also said is on this farewell tour, not the next one or the one
Is it
before.
like Simply Reds, where
Yeah,
it's like
this
every 5 years?
Yeah. They don't know if they're going to do one in UK.
I think that's sad, that.
That sounds like clickbait. That sounds like a marketing ploy.
I know.
For demand going, oh, why aren't they doing one in UK?
Yeah.
They're a UK band.
I know, and you know that they were a big band in UK.
They will.
They were bigger in States. That is a fact. It's a shame, but they were big in UK.
Were they really? Bigger?
Yeah, they were, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely loved in States.
I've never really got the Who.
I would say when
No, I never did.
Never really.
Bits and
like,
pieces.
I've known friends that have like really like that. It's like clicked with them.
Yeah.
But for me,
No.
no.
you never hear a lot of people talk about them in the same breath as set Rolling Stones.
You don't.
No,
do
you don't. No.
And they were around as long as Rolling Stones have been around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a good point, Wayne. People, they do speak of them, but they don't speak of them like the Beatles.
Beatles, yeah.
Rolling
Beatles,
Stones.
Rolling Stones. All them. Oh, they've been going around for years. Well, wait a minute. Who have?
Yeah.
They were only something like 2 or 3 months after Stones, but yet they don't get mentioned in the same breath as Stones.
Not as often. Not as
Why
often.
do you think that is?
And I was about to say, do you think they're as big as Stones?
No. Definitely not.
No.
But they've got to have done well to go for, what, 60 years, 70 years?
Do you think it's the characters?
I think it is. I think it's a lot to do with the characters.
I mean, obviously the songs, right?
And they're doing exactly the same things that Stones does. They're playing the back catalogue all the time.
Yeah.
They're not playing many new stuff after 86.
Well, I'm just thinking about the songs, and a lot of their songs, the internet is probably going to go into a frenzy because the Who fanatics out there with the
And there is
with the mods. But like, it just it feels like for me that the Who had like a window of like maybe 6 years of like great music.
Yeah.
But when you look at like, I know the Beatles were only together 7 years, which is ridiculous when you think about it. But the Stones had like, they've really got like a palette of different eras of
They're
music.
almost different bands, aren't they?
Yeah, you look at Exile Main Street compared to Some Girls, like the different bands, but
Yeah.
there's some bangers in there. You know, you got Start Me Up, which is a classic song, and you've also got Brown Sugar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you've also got Let's Spend the Night Together.
Yeah, but do you know Who's albums well enough to say that they haven't?
That's
got
true.
that stuff?
I don't. I guess that's the thing. I can't.
I mean,
accurately comment
I
on
would
it.
imagine there's massive Who fans
Other than
that they'll be able to say to you, yeah, but album so and such about that's got same thing. That's got this song and this song and that song.
I'll tell you the worst thing about the Who, the name,
who?
rubbish, absolute rubbish, awful name.
I bet it worked.
Never liked it.
I think they should have put "Done It" on end.
Who done it?
What did these? I think the previous. I could be wrong on this, Who fans. I'm sorry, but didn't they used to be called the High Numbers before that?
Better name, much better name.
Yeah,
The what? High numbers.
High Numbers.
Because everyone
or
does.
the Cortinas or something like
No, the
that.
Cortinas is bad, but like everyone,
I've not heard that. I don't know.
everyone,
I might be wrong with Cortinas.
everyone at some
I might be
point
wrong with
has-
High Numbers.
everyone at some point has made the joke. Who? The Who?
Yeah, maybe that's why it were done.
Who's this? Who? This? Who?
Yeah.
These?
Yeah,
Who?
that's exactly
These?
probably why they did it.
I don't know if
Probably.
they did. They don't seem to be a band with a sense of humour.
Yeah, but you've got.
Oh,
I
big
don't know.
nose.
He's got a sense of irony,
I
hasn't
once
he?
saw Townsend smirk.
Smirk.
Yeah,
Or big nose.
Yeah,
he has got.
it was nearly a
Townsend has
smile.
got that sense of irony about him. Really? Yeah, it could be that.
Maybe. I don't know.
When was the first time they said this is the final tour?
Oh, I bet that's. It's like all big bands, isn't it?
This is the final tour. The final farewell tour.
I bet this is the third, fourth final tour.
When did they first say it?
When did
This
this?
is the farewell tour. I'm sorry, there's no more after this. You have to make best of it.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. It's a good guess. I'm liking
But
that.
it's miles off.
I'm going to say 84.
84. That is an even better guess because it was 82.
Oh, baby.
82. That's when they first came out with that
82.
statement. We're going to do no more. This is the final tour.
That's
Final
ridiculous.
farewell tour.
But they all do it, don't they?
Of course they
It's just
do.
marketing, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
to drive tickets. It's like saying that we're not going to play England. Knowing football of the world, it's marketing to get
They'll
people
have
going,
to.
why aren't you playing? And just
Yeah.
drive the ticket demand.
It creates that conversation.
Yeah.
It creates that demand.
That's why we're talking about it now.
That's why we're talking about it now.
Here's a question for you. Can you name a band member that is more popular than the singer? And
And the singer.
Yeah.
That's a difficult one, isn't
and
it?
I've wrote this, but I don't actually have an answer.
A band member more popular than the singer.
And you could say
I'm sure there is. I'm going to have to think about this.
Yeah.
it's a hard one. Like you could say Hank Marvin, but no, Cliff was always bigger.
No, well, he didn't always play with Shadows. Shadows were a solo band.
Yeah, but Cliff was
as-
bigger. Cliff was
As
bigger.
well as on their own right. They were like the instrumental band, weren't they?
Is there any band where the singer wasn't always
Wasn't the feature.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like Joe
That's
Satriani.
what he's there for, isn't
I'm
it?
thinking like Joe Satriani. Did he like somebody like him who would have a singer? So like, what do you call him now? Jeff Beck. Would he have been in a band and the singer?
Oh, but the problem with that is,
So what about
People-
Clapton and Cream?
yeah, with a supergroup and they all went to see individuals. He was a singer in that band.
What about Zeppelin?
Eagles? No, Robert Plant.
Page?
Yeah, but Robert Plant. Everyone.
Everybody,
Page?
you know.
Ooh,
It's
I don't know.
close. I know what you mean. It's very close.
It would have double like, weren't it?
Mm.
What about?
AC/DC, Angus Young.
Everybody goes to see Singer and Angus. Oh, do you know? Last night,
Angus Young broke into house.
no,
It were playing on
I'm not-
Bloody Gordon.
no,
Kenny
it
Rogers.
were on Sky Arts, and it were a concert from Donington. I don't know what year. I'm going to say mid-noughties, because Angus has still got dark hair, and they did all the songs, and there were thousands and thousands of people there.
I
And
think
they're all
I've s-
moving as one,
I think I've seen this.
and there wasn't a phone in sight, so it might have been tad earlier than that. Might have been 90s.
Well, the phones didn't really get into the crowds until about 2000.
I've seen the concert from Donington.
Yeah, what year were it?
Well, I thought it really, I was going to say about 82, 83.
Oh, no, it weren't that early.
Were it not?
No, it was a lot later than that. Because your man's there, Geordie man.
Geordie Man.
But Jono,
Jono.
yeah, well, he joined in he joined in 85, wasn't it? 84, 85.
Yeah.
Because he did Back to Black album.
I think it was around,
Of course it is.
90.
Yeah, I didn't think.
I think it was about 90, might have been 91.
Anyway, it was definitely a time period.
Yeah, anyway, but the point I was making, it was in some time frame.
Live at Donington, 1982.
Shut up. 82?
Oh, you were close then.
Sorry,
You were close.
92.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah,
92.
You were
yeah,
close.
I were. You were the year after I said, didn't I?
Yeah.
So the point being, and he went into this. The songs are all there. They're all all classics, all favourites. Big Bell comes down, and all crowds moving as one.
Yeah.
It's great. Angus goes into this.
Hold on. I've never seen an ACD concert where they go.
No, you know, hands in the air.
Good, do.
No,
Pushed by an
You don't
apple
see.
sheet.
You don't see it now because now what you see is this.
Yeah, I know. It's sad, isn't it? It's really quite depressing.
And you're one of them. But
Yeah.
but you like it.
iPad.
We're not going to get on it again. Not gonna
iPad like that. Could you put your iPad on, shut up?
laptop. But they were all
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't see.
not giving it all that one. And they're all moving as one. Up and down, up and down. Angus goes into his solo. A long solo. A very long solo.
Was it a good solo?
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
Diddly-dee, diddly-dee.
Oh, he does that like, yeah, teasing it.
Oh, it went on forever and ever. And I think he's still playing it.
Went through about 4 commercial breaks.
Yeah. I mean, we'd already had this constant drum, which is a bit, you know, after 10 minutes, it gets a bit much. But his solo, I thought, no, please, for God's sake, play something or just stop? Because at the minute he just looked like a tit. He got on my nerves.
Yeah.
He got on my nerves. And I like a guitar player. And I like Angus Young. But it was just like nonsensical.
No.
Diddly-dee.
Well, it was 1992 though, you know.
So what else just sprung to mind?
What?
Rainbow or Deep Purple, Richie Blackmore.
Oh, okay.
That what I just did then. It just reminded you of Richard Blackmore.
It did. That's right. It sounded like one of his solos.
Yeah.
Richie Blackmore.
That's interesting. It's a good shout.
I think he's bigger than any singers.
I was going to say the Eagles. The guitar player in the Eagles.
Ooh. Now then.
Which one? There's 32 of them.
The one that wrote the songs.
Well, you've got Don Henley behind who
Exactly.
likes to think he is the
Don Henley.
king of the hill, didn't he? And then you had Glenn Fry at the front who also thought he was
Which
king of
one?
the
What
hill.
singer?
Well, they all sang.
Yeah.
You've also
That's
got
what I'm
Glenn
saying,
Fry
so-
sang and Don Henley sang.
I have thought Don Henley sang.
but Joe Walsh sang.
I think Joe Walsh is the biggest member.
Well, he wasn't an original member.
Why?
And people didn't... Wow. Yeah,
It's like,
people-
it's
a lot of
like
people
Fleetwood
didn't-
Mac. Like, who was the
Ooh.
biggest member of Fleetwood Mac?
Now, was it
was it Stevie Nicks?
Stevie Nicks?
Or-
we're struggling now for her name, aren't we?
I know his name.
Yeah,
Buckingham.
Lindsay
Lindsay
Buckingham.
Buckingham. I think
What was the
Stevie
other
Nicks.
singer, the piano
He's
player?
probably-
Yeah, who died recently. I can't remember his name now.
I think Stevie Nicks would be the most popular out of them.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think so. She were called
Oh, Buckingham.
Perfect. A previous name were Perfect and she changed it. Oh, she changed it because she got married to the bass player whose name was
I don't know.
Mac.
Fleetwood Mac.
Mick Fleetwood.
Mick Fleetwood.
No,
No. What did Mick Fleetwood play?
drums.
Were he drummer?
Yeah.
Mark Morrison. Return of the Mac.
The drummer, the bass player, she married the bass player who was called John McVie. That's where the Mac
yeah.
comes from.
Yeah, McVie. I forgot about
And
it.
she was called Christy McVie.
Christy McVie. Yeah,
Her
she
name
married him. She
before
would
that
have been.
were Christy Perfect.
Perfect.
Christine Perfect. Yes, there you go.
So I still think Stevie Nicks is probably
Yeah. Okay.
more well known.
Yeah, she had a good solo career as well. To a degree.
Did you?
Well,
Yeah. Possibly.
I went the wrong way around.
Black fried chicken.
So if I can read my notes.
Sorry, yes.
So
Well, I can't. That's a fact.
John Lydon, aka Johnny Rotten.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Did you start with so?
So
So,
John Lydon, aka Johnny Rotten. Now, apparently, in February, he come out and said that Taylor Swift is dull and boring.
okay.
And the history of them kind of singers / artists in America, they're all dull and boring. They're just aimed at teenage pop. And they all end up doing a show in Vegas because that's the only place people like her can end up.
Right.
Oh, but by the way, it's just recently said, Taylor Swift, how about doing a duet?
Is he being ironic?
No.
Yeah, yes, he must be.
Must
No,
be.
he
After
wants
a statement
no,
like that.
No, he wants. Apparently, he has been in touch with them. That were in February. That statement, and he's just recently been in touch with her to see if she would fancy doing a duet.
Because
But
because
it's
he's
him,
made
innit?
that statement and he's
And
getting
thought-
some
and
kickback
thought,
from it.
Yeah, I might get.
That reminds me of a very strange collaboration that I've seen recently.
Oh, go on.
Billy Idol.
Oh no, you're right.
Strange collaboration. So Billy Idol, who is how old's Billy Idol these days?
67,
Probably older than that.
maybe.
I think he's older. I saw when I saw him in 2023.
Yeah.
I thought he was going a bit senile. It sounds offensive, but
Well, he looks in his 80s.
It was like he was having to. He was doing. It was Generation X,
Yeah.
and he was having to read off a prompter, and he didn't always look like he was there. Sometimes he looked surprised that he was there himself. Anyway, he's done a song which is heavily produced, where within an inch of its life, where everything's
got a new
auto,
album out, hasn't
everything's
it?
auto-tuned.
Yeah.
But it's a duet and it's on her album, Avril Lavigne.
Oh, right, yeah.
And
Oh, no, ain't it off his new album, that?
I don't know. I thought
He's done a new album.
Oh, she's featuring in his album then. Okay,
And,
well,
it's,
that makes sense.
and it's
then.
got a lot of duets on with different people.
Right,
And she's
okay.
one of the guests.
It's an awful song. It's
Is it?
produced within an inch of its life.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Why has she come out of retirement then? Or has
She never left, but she just... So, she's done a resurgence,
Right.
like most other bands. So, there's a lot of talk at the moment about 90s indie bands.
Yeah.
Not 90s indie bands, sorry. Noughties indie bands that are more popular than ever. And what it is, we're going through that wave of nostalgia now. For people who were into them when they're younger, they're now streaming them now. And they listen to them, and you got these nostalgic tours, and they're popping up at festivals. So you got the likes of like the Kooks and Hard Five, Reformed, and Avril Lavigne is one of those nostalgia artists.
She went off at scene for ages, didn't she?
Well, she didn't. It's just that people weren't into her anymore, and now she's a
She's a particular
she's
time,
a
wasn't
nostalgia artist. So for you, it would have been bands from the 80s, and then they came back.
Yeah. Do
And
you
it
think
became
that's what
nostalgia.
happens? We plod along and we accept these bands and we go on to the next thing that comes along. But the people that's coming up behind us, they go a generation back to have a look what we've been looking at. Do you think that happens, or do they don't always stay in the moment, do they?
They don't. They go through flavors, but a good example of it.
And now, because of streaming, it's easy to do that.
A good example of it would be Craig David.
Mm-hmm.
Craig David. The reason why I mention that is because he was very popular in the late 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And then his career took a nosedive because of Bo Selecta, who mimicked his character and turned him into a Kes character, which was bullying, essentially. It ruined his career. And then...
You think that's the reason why?
Yeah, it did.
Really?
Yeah, he spoke about it quite openly.
It's funny, though.
But then you've got this wave of nostalgia, and now he's back and he's credible again. People respect him and like him.
Playing the big festival the other week, weren't he? Yeah, I saw that.
So
Well, I didn't watch it for long. But
it takes about... I think the nostalgia wave takes about 20 years, just under 20 years.
Yeah.
Which would work right with Avril Lavigne, because she was big in like early 90s, sorry. And now it's about 20 years.
Did she marry the bloke from...
she did, yeah, from Nickelback. Yeah. Didn't last long, though.
And did she not?
She also with somebody from the lead singer from Sum 41 as well.
Chad Kroger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she marry him?
I think so, yeah. Maybe it says not for long, though.
No.
Well,
Because he kept asking her, look at this photograph.
Seems up to me, that.
You don't like him?
Oh.
Oh, no. Not oh.
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
And Dolly.
Dolly.
So Trump's had a...
The reason why we're saying so is because when Wayne's got something to say, it starts with soap.
So...
And that, he's conscious of
You
it.
were right there.
And every time he says it, he's trying not to say
I'm just
it.
going to start laughing. Trump's had a go at the Music Federation. Apparently he's had a blast at this Music Federation, where he's had another swipe at Taylor Swift.
Oof.
Which I think this was about the third or fourth one this year. He constantly keeps having a dig at her.
Why?
And what... I just don't think he likes her for some reason. She gets under his orange skin. So in this one...
No, it's not orange.
Isn't it?
No, they have a brush. They get dip it in.
What's it?
What's this brush?
You've seen it as well.
Good, isn't it?
Dip it in what's it, and then put it on it.
So apparently he's come out and said, Taylor Swift, she isn't hot anymore. She's not hot anymore. She's on her way out.
What a weird thing to say for a present, no less.
Oh, I thought this one was
It's a
even
very
funnier.
informed statement, isn't it? She just done 1.9 billion.
And that's Springsteen. Phew, well, he's just as dumb as an old rock.
Oh, well, Springsteen has made a speech, hasn't he? A concert.
Yeah, because they're slagging him off. He's having to go back.
Springsteen has done a big speech about how America's under a dictatorship and all that sort of stuff, and we have to rise up against it and stuff like that. It was a really good speech, but I can't quote it word for word, but it was scathing nonetheless.
Right.
It's this growing number of celebrities in the movie industry and the music industry that's sort of coming out with all these statements.
Yeah. Robert De Niro did one at
Yeah,
Cannes
he
Film
did.
Festival.
Yeah, because he were on about moving to Canada, wanted to get
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
where he said.
Well, Springsteen from day one has been a big pushing back against this person. We can't say too much because we get restricted.
So, what we should do then, we should take a long commercial break and end this episode. So, on that note,
Goodbye.